right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone, here with Chuck Anderson.
Hey now.
And with John Burr.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. It's the Christmas season. Happy holidays to everyone.
Happy Hanukkah. Is it the first day of Hanukkah? Second day of Hanukkah?
It's Sunday it started.
It's a day of Hanukkah.
I got the kids at home. I'm hiding presents, trying to exchange presents. It's all pretty wild, season.
Yeah, I'm in this weird place where my car has been pretty much not functioning for 2 weeks. I have to put it into the shop.
I got one for you.
Huh? A car?
A car? Yeah,
yes.
we've done this. We've done this before. No,
I'm getting it today. I'll give you your present. I have a present for you. I have a Christmas
what?
present for you that is perishable, so I need you to come get it anyways.
Is it a dog? Poke holes in the top. What do you?
No, but
It's cold outside. It's like a refrigerator outside, John.
Yeah.
Can't you just put it outside?
Okay, well, I didn't want to tell this story, but I will tell you why I will not put it outside.
Okay.
So fairly recently, I was returning home, late night flight. It was from the holidays, and I wanted food that was bad for me pretty desperately. I'd been trapped with my family, eating very healthily. So on the way home from the airport, I ordered what's the most disgusting food that you could order? You think? Devastating.
Taco Bell.
Falafels?
Jet's Pizza, I think.
Checkers. Oh, okay.
I think it's Jet's Pizza. It's basically a dozen donuts covered in marinara sauce and cheese.
We're talking disgusting pizza. Jets doesn't make the list.
Really?
For me.
It's
Yeah.
my
Man,
one of my
Jets
favorites.
messes me up the worst of anything
Oh,
I've ever
okay.
had.
As far as
as far
body
as-
effect,
Yeah.
GI effect. It's basically like eating glue.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I basically thought I had timed it perfectly. Get home, put the baby to bed. Allie would soon go to bed. I thought I'd be eating, 11:30 midnight, scarfing down my
So
own
good
personal
Detroit.
four-corner Detroit-style pizza. However, I didn't realize the baby wouldn't cooperate. Then Allie wants to clean the whole house when we get home. I hear the pizza delivered to the outside, and I have, not so the baby can sleep better, but I have an instruction to my Uber Eats person that says, do not knock on the door. Sleeping
sure.
baby.
Yeah.
There is no, in fact, sleeping baby,
Well,
but
still.
there is sleeping girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I hear the pizza delivered, and Allie won't stop cleaning. The baby won't go to bed. I'm sitting pretty close to the front door. Then I start hearing a scritching and scratching on the front porch. And finally, Allie and the baby go to bed, and I rush outside to rescue my Jet's Pizza. And there are strange raccoon-shaped scratches through the top of the box.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's the pièce de résistance. I fully intended to eat this entire Jet's Pizza. The family of raccoons that I later saw on the ring thing only ate one piece. One piece was enough for an entire family of raccoons.
Well, at least they don't take more than they need.
Yeah,
Then I
that's
would-
good
for
they
them.
don't overeat. They
then
listen to
human-
their bodies. They say,
Yeah.
And then
stop.
sadly, I was too afraid that I somehow thought if I finished the pizza that I would get rabies. But I did think about finishing the pizza.
Aren't we the only species that eat stuff that's like truly terrible for us?
I
Like
think
don't
so.
like a lot of
Well-
other animals, they'll go up to something and they'll be like, "Oh, that's poison."
No,
But,
because
but we-
my
but we don't
dog,
have-
like some dogs or goats will eat anything, but I think they
That's
learned it
true.
from watching us, Dad.
Yeah.
Well,
But Chuck, long story short, I can't leave
okay.
this muffaletta on the porch.
well, why don't you
or-
just? Oh, it's a muffaletta. Thanks.
Oh,
so,
well.
so
Yeah.
what you could do is put it in a bag and then tie a rope around a tree and
Oh.
then hang it like you would if you were camping.
Oh,
and
like,
then
so
I'd come
bears
by
can't
and
get it. You
Yeah,
hang
so
you
bears
hang it
can't
off
get
the
it.
ground.
Yeah.
We
These
have-
are raccoons.
we had our autumnal Halloween pumpkins still on the front
Oh.
porch, and these specific ones hadn't gone bad, turned into like a gooey mush. However, something ate them yesterday. Something came through, bit off about half of each one. I don't know. We have a lot of weird animals in our yard. I've made the joke a lot of times. It's like the Snow White with the menagerie of just like, we live in a city. Like I live close to downtown Nashville, and we have like deer, foxes, raccoons.
Do you have turkey?
I haven't seen a turkey. We got big old
We have turkeys
hawks
around here.
just
They're
like
aggressive. Yeah.
chipmunks, squirrels,
I was
possum.
about to
Like
say you have a long history with squirrels.
I used to. Yeah. We had that squirrel that lived in our house that I had to trap, and then there was the squirrel accidentally tortured to death by leaving him overnight in a frozen cage. I felt horrible about it. Also, this goes back to how little I'm prepared for just like being an adult and being a homeowner. Like tons of examples. Obviously, this 8 years of the podcast filled with them. Like I bought some shelves from Target, and it's changed my life. And my wife's like, yeah, are you an idiot? We've needed shelves for forever. You said like 8 years ago you didn't want shelves, so I never broached the topic again. And I was like, what do you mean I said I didn't want shelves? Like, yeah, I was like, this room's a wreck. What if we got some like storage shelves? And you were like, no, this is for the podcast. I can't do that. And so she's like, I didn't want to bring it up again. But now I'm like, shelves are amazing. Our whole house seems so much better. Anyways, another example of this was like, we used to have the trash cans, like the big city trash cans that we roll out to the street. They were right by the window in the baby dungeon where I do podcasting, just right up against the house. And there were times at night we would hear this like ruckus of like, whoa, someone's breaking in the back door or something. And then we would like peek our head out the window and look, and it was raccoons lifting up the big plastic trash can bin, jumping in there, and then it would, whack down behind them. And it would make this terrible noise. And then like, I can't remember who it was like, hey, why don't you just move your trash cans away from your house so there aren't raccoons crawling all over the back of your house? I'm like, hey, you know what? My life's a lot better now. The trash cans are further from my dwelling. This seems really obvious. This seems super. This is like, if I lived in the Wild West, I would be like peeing indoors in the house, and someone would be like, hey, you know what's a good idea? Take that waste as far away from you.
Yeah.
Don't do it where you eat and sleep, man. What are you, stupid? Are you an idiot? Yeah, I am.
All this like frisky critter talk reminds me of a quote that I heard once from on a podcast about guys who would make garbage cans so bears couldn't get into them. And he said that the hardest part of building these garbage cans isn't making it so that a bear can't get into them, but they have to be simple enough for a human to be able to get into them. And that's basically my life story. Like if it's too hard for me.
Have they designed the trash can that squirrels, raccoons, and cannot get into, bears cannot get into, but humans can get into? Does it exist?
I think there's like this fine line, and it involves like a latch, but most humans don't want to use their thumbs,
Because I mean, also these trash cans have like holes in the side where animals have gnawed through them. I don't know if they were trying to get in or out. Like, I don't, were they trapped in and it gnawed its way out, or was it just that hungry? It can smell the leftover jets and it had to have it.
Those holes are really scary.
Yeah. Speaking of
it's like you're like, that took a prison term to gnaw that hole.
Some Shawshank.
Well, yeah, was it an Andy Dufresne chipping away one bite at a time for years, or was it one very productive evening? A raccoon is
gives me pause.
I'm doing it all. Right now.
PAWS.
Speaking of also just learning to be an adult, I got our sink fixed. I paid someone just to fix our kitchen sink. We have a functioning kitchen sink, and I feel like the richest man in the world.
You guys haven't noticed I'm back in my studio.
Oh, and John, by the way, through the YouTube, John is back in his right spot. You got that all repaired?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it's functional.
The part on camera. No, I'm saying like maybe for Patreon only, I'll do the whole exchange with the plumber. This was a bad thing, by the way. We'll get to basketball in a second. I ran into a longtime listener who was like, man, you gotta make a compilation of all your stories talking about like your war with Comcast and your war with the plumbers and your war with like the oil change place. And I'm like, I've been trying to cut it down, but this guy's like, no, that's the best part. So it gave me the green light that probably we didn't need, but I did. I had an exchange with the plumber where they didn't come on the day they said they were, and so I wanted a discount.
That's it.
Obviously.
You should spin that off. You just call it the privilege tapes.
The privilege tape. Yeah.
And that's the move. You got your own, like.
Well, I mean, if you tell me you're going to repair something for a price, I agree to the price, and the price is contingent on you coming on that day. That's how I feel about it. We did a podcast last Tuesday. We moved it to Monday because the plumber was coming on Tuesday. Plumber doesn't come on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, they don't come on Wednesday, they come on Friday. I got a podcast on Friday. Anyway, but I have a functioning kitchen sink. I've been washing my dishes again, like Wild West Keith, with like a little splash of water and then just rub it. We can't like it had been years since we were able to use our dishwasher without cleaning the entire
for gold.
sink. Yeah, we're like had to get everything out of the sink because this toilet water is going to fill up our entire sink while the dishwasher
smell. Sinks can smell.
No, but now everything's fixed now, and it's glorious. I mean, maybe something will go wrong, but it was one of those things. Like, man, I was really hesitant to spend all the money to do this, but now I feel like a lap of luxury. They invented a place where you could just turn the water on in your house, and it can run for forever.
Wow,
amazing. Anyways, we should do our breakfasts. What breakfast have you had? Any muffalettas or pumpkin carvings or Jets pizza? What'd you have for breakfast today? Chuck, what's your breakfast?
So I haven't had breakfast yet. But this weekend I was away in a resort water park in the Smoky Mountains in East Tennessee called Wilderness in the Smokies.
Sure.
Which, if they haven't started shooting season 3 of White Lotus, it should be in a resort water park in East Tennessee.
In Gatlinburg or Pigeon
that
Forge.
will be that will be Red Lotus.
Yeah, Red Lotus. But in the hotel room, you can't feed. It was me, my girlfriend, our kids. You can't feed 3 meals a day out eating. Like, I don't have the money for that. So we bought some food. One of them was an Eggo Pop Tart. So the Eggo Pop Tart is frosted maple flavor. Now? Yeah, it's a horrific experiment gone wrong.
Wait,
some things, just because we can do them doesn't mean we should do them, and this is one of those cases.
This is an Eggo flavored Pop-Tart or a Pop-Tart flavored Eggo?
It's a Eggo flavored Pop-Tart. So there wasn't enough butter. It really, all you need is maple flavor.
Well, you add your own. Eggos don't come with butter. You add your own butter. Maybe this is Kaylin Cooper's, Indiana Pacers expert. Her Pop-Tart technique is to add that pat of butter onto a warm Pop-Tart. This Eggo Pop-Tart, I assume, was screaming for it.
It should have had one. I probably messed up. This is probably my fault. But the texture was unlike any Pop-Tart I've ever had. It was more gooey. There was less and I toasted it. There was just, I don't know.
That makes it sound like you got a bad Pop-Tart. I don't feel like the consistency or the texture of Pop-Tart is supposed to change.
No,
I don't recoil. This does not make my body recoil. I don't know, for whatever reason, this specific thing, like, well, it sounds like a reasonable Pop-Tart flavor to me. Hey, look, it's not like barbecue or like roast turkey Pop-Tart, which I assume they're going to have something like that. It's not a weird savory Pop-Tart. It's a breakfast food flavored Pop-Tart. That seems fine.
I think it just didn't give me Eggo. It didn't make me feel like,
you don't want to say Lego. You want to Lego that Eggo?
So our Eggo's good. Eggos are good.
No, they're like,
it's a frozen waffle.
It's a frozen waffle. They're just industrialized food.
It is what it is.
You would want an Eggo flavored something in theory.
I mean, I guess you're right.
If we're talking novelty breakfast, yes, give me an Eggo flavored something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not talking about a staple every day.
And also, I don't know how you would create an Eggo flavor. You know, it's because all I taste when I eat an Eggo is butter and syrup.
Sure. No, you're not tasting butter and syrup. You're tasting a chemical compound.
Yeah, there's a lot of
resembles the flavor of butter and syrup.
I do sometimes want those chemical compound tastes, though.
Of course.
Yeah. Like the taste
that brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart. I don't think that necessarily tastes like brown sugar and cinnamon, but it does taste like the medicine that I need.
Yeah.
That my body desires.
No, I'm fine with the fake flavoring. Speaking of weird
aspartame, am I desiring aspartame?
Speaking of weird breakfast foods, you guys see this? Fruit Loops is selling a single loop box.
What?
Is it an NFT?
It's not an NFT. It's as far as I can tell, it's an actual thing. It costs $20. It's a box that contains one loop. It's just a huge single Fruit Loop.
Oh, okay.
It's not Fruit Loops, it's Fruit Loop. They will send you a huge Fruit Loop. I assume I have to buy that, right? I mean, that's tax write-off.
It's yeah. So
breakfast
I'm looking
themed,
at it now.
business expense, yeah.
$20.
$20 for a Fruit Loop.
It's a single giant Fruit Loop, and
What
there's
am I
a picture
saying?
of it.
Yeah.
There's a picture of it in a bowl. They put it in a bowl, but like not like
You're gonna have to gnaw on that like a raccoon trying to get into your trash.
Yeah.
To get that down.
I guess they call it the Big Fruit Loop. I'm with it. I think I can do that.
I think
a
that was
single
Bill
serving of
Walton's
Kellogg's.
Which
nickname
NBA
on
player
Basketball Reference.
should be called the Big Fruit Loop? Yes, thank you, John. We both felt it. Both screamed NBA basketball nickname.
I think because he plays for the Nuggets and their history of loving rainbow colors, then we give it to Jokic.
It honestly feels like Jokic could be the Big Fruit Loop. By the way, 40 points, 27 rebounds.
Oh my God.
Get out of town.
Ooh.
Also,
those are Ivica Zubac.
Yeah, those Zubac numbers.
Zubacian.
I had a Hornets fan telling me, like, if you actually even watched that Jokic game, it doesn't feel like he's doing anything. He had the first
Effortless.
40-25 rebound triple double since Wilt in 1968. And it's like, maybe that's why the NBA players aren't that, like, when there's a vote of NBA players for best player, none of them picks Jokic. They're like, yeah, he just gets every rebound and makes every shot. But is that, it's not basketball.
But is that good basketball?
Yeah, is that good? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. When I see a guy with a flat top throw the ball as high as he can into the air and it magically lands in the hoop at a clip,
it's awesome.
Doesn't make any sense. It seems special to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's making like 60% of his mid-range jumpers.
Here's the real question: how often is he traveling?
He doesn't even. I don't even think he travels that much.
I don't think he does.
That's why he's not.
That's coded language there, Chuck.
Those. Wait, I didn't. John, what was your breakfast? I'm lost.
So I have ordered. Have you guys ever heard of Gold Belly?
Yeah.
So I decided for Christmas gifts for certain friends, I would order some things from Gold Belly, from like eateries, from places that they like, or types of food that they like. So I got a bunch of Cajun food in the mail yesterday, and so I had beignets, and furthermore I had some kind of bread pudding Danish this morning.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm already like in the throes of some sort of diabetic fit where I feel very uncomfortable right now, but it was quite good. But it was definitely like a more sugary experience than my usual McGaw's.
Amazing.
Oh yeah,
sounds tremendous.
Beignets make so Gold Belly's great. So you could get basically like famous places from all. This is an advertisement. Famous like food places from different cities, like a Chicago deep dish pizza will get it, freeze dried, packed, and sent to you, or a New York style like deli Reuben, like
we
that
got
kind of stuff.
Central Grocery from New Orleans, very good.
Detroit style Jets pizza.
Yes.
Jets pizza, basically.
I have to admit, there's a Detroit style jet pizza or Detroit style pizza in East Nashville now, and I would say it is half as good as Jets.
Jets is legit. I love it.
My breakfast, since we have a functioning sink, made the kids some instant muffins. They were,
hey now,
they're not.
Mid?
They very below mid. They were.
Does that come from a mix?
A mix. You add a half a cup of milk. They were. This was the southeast division of the. Of
you gave your you fed your children some nice treacle.
They seriously
treacle and sponge.
They now when they bake, they're supposed to obviously they rise a little bit, but they're actually they made these weird cones. Like they didn't make a muffin like where it was like kind of a soft curve rose up. It was like a spiked cone. And the wife's theory was that they've started like adding a little bit less of the actual ingredients. Like maybe they took out too much, whether it's baking soda or flour, like maybe less flour. And it's like to save, maybe to cut some corners, and the muffins don't quite rise the correct way. It was some weird looking, reminiscent of, let's say, the Dan Aykroyd film Coneheads, and not the KKK Klansmen. They were some weird looking muffins. But yeah, that was made out of a pack. Do not recommend. Anyways, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfast, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about basketball, but we mentioned Nikola Jokic one time, so not today. What things do we need to make right that we got wrong? Chuck, you got anything you want to apologize for?
I was going to apologize for Anthony Davis and like jinxing him with high praise and basically infecting his body with my energy. What I am going to do instead is apologize for looking past a very important point that we didn't put closure on last week, which was how Roseanne died in the spinoff, the Goodmans, the Connors, forgive me, because Goodman, never mind.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so how they wrote her off the show. So Roseanne basically went MAGA wild on Twitter and was doing all sorts of nonsense.
Can we guess first before you tell us?
Yes, Keith, go.
She died climbing through a window of the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th, and a security officer put her down.
Wrong.
Berg.
Okay. Berg, go.
This is the new show, right?
Yeah, the spinoff.
Well, she didn't die on the old show.
No, it wasn't. Well, at first it was a heart attack.
Way to make a funny joke, John. All right, Chuck, what's the real answer?
The way they wrote her off saying she died of an opioid overdose.
Oh, did she accidentally touch fentanyl?
Did she sniff fentanyl? I don't know. I'm so sorry that I didn't bring that up last show, but this is amazing.
Well, the reason I said heart attack, because do you know how the Roseanne regular show ended?
Yeah,
we mentioned it last time. We kind of alluded to it, but I don't
think
actually
we got into it because it's truly insane.
More insane than the ABC sitcom Dinosaurs.
That was a bad ending. Well, that was kind of gonna end poorly.
Yeah,
Dinosaurs didn't live happily.
So the last few seasons, like the Roseanne family, what are they? The Connors.
The Connors.
They're rich because they win the lottery.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And in the last episode, they revealed that whole rich lottery thing was a dream Roseanne was having. And
I love dreams.
Dan had died of a heart attack, and she was been living in a fantasy world, and then the show just ends.
Love it.
That's some Saint Elsewhere, autistic child with a bowl with a snow globe.
Yeah. Also, he had been having an affair, apparently. So they killed him off. I don't know. There's some.
Oh, you mean are you mixing the streams of real life and the fictional world?
No, this is. I mean, this
Tom
is
Arnold?
according. Yeah, this is. I think she worked out her Tom.
Is
Tom
that
Arnold
ending
stuff.
more depressing than the main character on Dinosaurs causing the extinction event of his entire species, and then the show ending?
What about the ending of Alf, where the Area 51 guys come and just take him away, mimicking the scary parts of E.T.
Yeah. He was about to meet back up with his family, get back to, was it Melmac?
Melmac.
He's about to get back to Melmac, and then to be continued, and they canceled the show.
We should mention that all of these endings are better than like the Breaking Bad ending, Lost ending, and Deadwood movie.
The Deadwood movie doesn't exist. Anyway, that was middle-aged men look back on sitcoms from their childhood.
They didn't even watch.
That's right. John, what's your apology? By the way, Chuck, I did we should highlight that we gave some praise to Anthony Davis finally. And we're like, it was the whole Anthony Davis. I was taking victory laps. Like, you guys got mad at me when I said the Grizzlies should trade multiple first-round picks for this guy. And look at this tear he's on. And everyone's like, the Lakers, they should go all in now. Because if Anthony Davis is the best player in the NBA, you got to go all in. And now he's out for a month.
I think we've figured it out that Anthony Davis is just a really awesome player, but can only be awesome for relatively short bursts, and that's why the bubble championship was a beautiful thing for him.
Yeah, he got that travel. He got that perfect break leading into it. Yeah.
I mean, it was just a perfect scenario because he just is unable to do this for any sustained periods of times. Similar to a player I thought was kind of in that methodology. Maybe will be, but I'm going to apologize to Markelle Fultz, who. During the Magic's majestic six, what did they win? 6 or 7 games in a row?
They won six straight, and they were a fishy foul call.
Almost, yeah,
away from
almost
7 straight.
Yeah, and
to the Hawks.
it's not so much that he's putting up amazing stats. There's a couple of 20-point games in there, one of them in the loss to the Hawks the other night. But he adds an element that they don't have where he can drive and kick with the best of them. And we make fun of his shot all the time, but his mid-range, I don't have any numbers to support this, but his mid-range looks wet to me. And I've just been really impressed with the way he's played. And I thought he's been a difference maker for a Orlando team that is filled with fun players, just ridiculously fun.
They really are cool.
Hans and Franz Wagner.
Yeah,
those are my 2 favorite brothers ever.
And Paolo, it's basically just a European beach.
I would like to take a victory lap on them. In my mind, they unleashed this goodness by freeing Mo Wagner. They let the brothers play together. I believe in Mo Wagner. This is a weird.
I mean, we haven't even talked about Bol and
Bol
the other
we've
giant,
been talking about
Mo Bamba.
Bol.
Yeah, we've been on that. But Mo Bamba, that has been surprising.
But they don't even do Mo Bamba. Like they don't need him anymore. Like they're just like,
the Mo thing is relatively. Each Mo has played well in their minutes.
I'm just saying. I think probably maybe unduly influenced by fantasy basketball, but I believed in these ex-Lakers center. Mo Wagner and Thomas Bryant, and I feel validated over the past week. Both guys playing really, really solid. But no, Mo's been great for the Magic, and now they got Fultz playing, Cole Anthony's back and playing, and all of a sudden this weird all 6'9", 6'10", 6'11" squad has some okay guard play. It is what's weird. It feels like every game they have their 4 main guys, and then they just add in an extra one just to experiment. Like a couple games ago, it was Admiral Schofield, your Go Vols dude. Last game, it was Kevon Harris, who's on a 2-way, who I saw do this ferocious dunk in Summer League, like 6 feet away from me. And they're like, hey, let's close the game with this guy. But no, the Magic are super fun. My apology. I mean, I got a couple of them. I mean, should we? I don't know if we have to apologize for Jonas, but we went hard on Jonas last week, and Jonas did a thing in the last game.
Lost.
It wasn't his fault he lost.
It's always his fault they lost.
It's a funny joke. All right, we can make our funny jokes that he puts up stats and losses, but like it clearly wasn't his fault. Jonas became the first player with 7 made threes and 18 rebounds in a game. Larry Nance was out, and it was just free Jonas green light. He had the freedom of knowing if I struggle, I'm not getting pulled in this game because there's no Larry Nance behind me. And maybe just that little boost was all he needed to have this historic game, 37 points. He and James Harden are the only 2 players in NBA history with multiple games with 15 rebounds and 6 made threes. So Jonas going off. No, I would apologize. You're talking about exchanging a gift or giving a gift to Chuck. I actually had some regrets. Chuck, I gave you a gift recently, and it was a re-gift. I re-gifted you something.
And you told me you didn't have to.
I know I didn't have to tell you it was a re-gift.
He hands me a late birthday gift, and he goes, here's a shirt. It doesn't fit me. Somebody gave it to me, and I don't like it. Here. I was like, that's not how you give a gift.
Well, there's a lot to that. One, I felt like the window closed for when the re-gift would have been cool. It was a late birthday gift because, well, you didn't come to a watch party when it was your birthday, which is fair. I don't know. But I felt like the window was, John's like, hey, Chuck's birthday was yesterday. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll bring him this thing as like a birthday present. And so like, I feel like on a spur of a moment, I could just say, here's this shirt I bought. It didn't fit me. It would look awesome on you, I feel like. But then like a month passes and I'm like, well, should I give him this thing? But I know it's again, I'd have to say it's a regift, but I'm an honest guy. I'm an honest guy to a fault. And I was like, here's the shirt. I bought it. It wasn't
you're
right.
A faulty, honest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
I don't have the shoulders and torso to fill this shirt out. I thought you would worry. So like, I don't know. I felt like maybe just the window closed. Maybe I shouldn't even done it. I felt conflicted, but then I felt bad about just giving you a re-gift shirt. So I'm sorry,
usually when I receive a gift, there's a gratitude that I feel. When you gave me that gift, I felt confused.
Yeah,
that was the
fair
feeling.
Too.
I was
that's
like,
fair
I have a Zelchko Rebraca actually used nameplate from the Detroit Pistons locker room with Keith's name on it. If I ever see him in person again, I gotta get this to him.
That's gonna be very. I can't wait to receive that. Anyways, those were our breakfast in bed apologies. Before we move to our steak and eggs best thing, let's find a ad. I'm going to give you a word from our sponsor, the Memphis Grizzlies. The Edge Pass is the newest way to get access to FedEx Forum on Grizzlies game days, including access to premier venues like the Big River Steel Edge and the Caesars Sportsbook Lounge. So don't miss seeing Ja, Dez, Dylan, and the rest of the Grizzlies take on the biggest names and the brightest stars with the Edge Pass. You can also lock in your tickets to see this exciting team, first place in the Western Conference, by calling 901-888-HOOP or clicking grizzlies.com. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? John, what's your steak and eggs?
I know I just talked about a Magic winning streak that has now ended, but the Knicks winning streak is yet to end. The Nets are going strong. New York basketball, it's a beautiful thing. It's kind of like, have you guys dug into it? Like, it is insane. It's almost conspiratorial, Chuck. I don't know if you want to look into this, but they keep facing teams that are resting or their best players are hurt or just something has happened. They get COVID. Like both, it's the Nets and the Knicks are both like playing teams at their absolute lowest, but they're winning every time. So you have to give them credit. And if you watch them, it's not just that they're winning, they're like completely transformed. And it's like in the simplest of ways, like it's very illustrative for the Nets. Like, what was Steve Nash thinking? You have the best half-court players in the world, both of them on your team. You don't need to fast break. Let's just crash the boards. Let's just everyone crash the boards. Let's beat them in the half court with our guys who shoot, 60%, or in Utah Watanabe's case, 70% from three. Let's just win the other way, And then for the Knicks, Tom Thibodeau just finally stopped playing guys like Derrick Rose and Evan Fournier, and lo and behold, there are enough good NBA players to stick around your Jalen Brunsons to put something together, But they look like totally different teams from years past. The Knicks are like a good offensive team all of a sudden, like top 10 at times. Like, it's just very refreshing. I went, I saw Brunson play the Grizzlies live, and it was a transcendent performance. And then Kevin Durant's as good as anyone in the league again at his age. It's quite remarkable. And Jacques Vaughn, to me, is one of the best stories of the year. And if you watch them play, KD and Kyrie go and seek Jacques' advice, between plays. There's a relationship there. It's legit. It's real.
What's wild to me about the Knicks streak, and yeah, you said like they're playing, teams without their best players. That's the NBA. That's just
right.
That's just. I feel like the league. It seems like the teams are doing like a protest, where like if they rest all the best players on the second night of back-to-backs, like at some point the league just gotta be like, we can't do this. I don't know what they're gonna do. No, the wild thing about the Knicks to me is it is a it's like what I'm trying to say, it's like a victory for critics of the previous critics of the Knicks, or like for podcasters, for armchair coaches who watch the Knicks and they're like, why are you playing these dudes? Just play Quentin Grimes and quickly. Just stop playing Fournier.
They're playing guy. Have you ever heard of a Deuce McBride? I mean, it's guys making huge impacts, and Tibbs is rolling these guys out hardcore.
I'm just saying, like during this like with the 7-game win streak, it is all right. Let's play Randall, Barrett, and Brunson, and then give me Grimes and quickly, and rotate Robinson and Hartenstein. Done. Yeah. And that's what they're like. Cam Reddish, DMP, and as you said, like Fournier is out. Derrick Rose is too old, and those guys are all killing it. I mean, Randall's on fire.
Randall's balling.
He's been killing it. Like all of the guys, their big three, if you want to call it a big three, they're playing well, and then just them depending on. I mean, a lot of it is health too. Like Mitchell Robinson is available. He has Anthony Davis disease, where it's like, don't go too hard, buddy. Just
the game I saw most recently with the Knicks, that's the best Mitchell Robinson game I have ever seen. Like, he was just monstrous on both sides. Going back to the Nets, Claxton looks like Mitchell Robinson on defense now. It's just, I think both these teams are playoff bound. You know.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it kind of going into the season, I thought the Knicks would be better. And I thought the Brunson thing had to be a massive positive, but I could have never imagined a transformational one like this.
You know what's really weird about the Knicks? So they've won 7 straight. They're up to 6th.
And I mean, it is
East.
over bum teams,
but they're 7-7 at home. Like they've actually played. Yeah, they're 10-6 on the road, 7-7 at home. Super weird. Also, you got the continuing the winning streaks. The 76ers have now won 5 straight. So all those teams kind of rounding into form. Chuck, what's your best thing?
So my best thing this week was the Miami Heat got fined $25,000 for playing players that they had listed on their injury report as being out or questionable. They didn't change the status. There's a whole bunch of nonsense. The Heat have had everybody injured this year. But the very next game, in a absolute brilliant move, they put every single player on the injury report, and some players that aren't even on the team. Matt Geiger was on the injury report. Gloria Estefan was listed as out because the rhythm got her. They did a whole bunch of nonsense.
Bad boys.
So yeah, I think it was a beautiful move in the annals of Miami Heat pettydom. We are a team that can do some petty stuff from the front office down, and yeah, it was my favorite thing.
Were most of the players listed as probable, or were they all?
I think they were all. I think they were. I think they were just. Somebody forgot to turn a piece of paper in. It feels like to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody and the team has been ridiculously injured. Gabe Vincent hasn't played any real minutes this year, it feels like. And Oladipo's been out.
Minutes, baby.
Depot's finally back. He's coming kind of looking okay, and they're playing him with Tyler Hero, which I didn't think was going to work, but it's been working. In some of the games where they're playing garbage teams. We are 4-0 in the last 4, but we played the Thunder, the Spurs, the Rockets. But we had to go to Mexico City to play the Spurs on the second night of back-to-back, which is like, it just doesn't make sense to me that you would want to put a game in a new city that you were hoping to maybe have an expansion team, but nobody's going to play because it's the second night of a back-to-back on a team that is, historically doesn't like to play their players, their older players anyway, on the second night. So yeah, the Heat, it's strange. That team, I still don't understand them. This is the first time I can remember 3 players with 20 points a game on our team scoring. But our offense stinks sometimes.
What's funnier, this injury report thing or Udonis Haslem starting a game this year?
Oh, man, that was an all-time moment. I went into the Slack. I alerted everybody in different time zones. Hey, UD starting. It's tremendous activity that's going on in Miami right now. We don't have a power forward outside of we don't have a power forward. If Bam's at center, we don't have a power forward on our roster, like a legit one other than UD. So yeah, it's been a weird year. Hopefully the Miami's shooting was gonna get back. They were the best 3-point shooting team in the league last year. We're in the bottom 10 this year. So I think if we could get back to that, if we could catch some heat, for lack of a better word.
Oh yeah,
we could go. I think rise up and maybe get over past the Knicks in the standings and get out of the play-in.
I like how, I mean, I know 25 grand isn't much of anything. I mean, that's a embarrassing piddling fine, but I do like that the Heat aren't scrimping and cutting corners, knowing that FTX money is probably not gonna those checks aren't gonna clear.
I think yeah, they're gonna need to give Udonis Haslem like an ownership share in the future because he apparently lost $15 million in this FTX deal.
Oh no!
Yeah, and he's had a good career, long career, but I don't know.
Did you hear Shaq's testimony? Shaq's testimony.
I don't know what an NFT is.
Yeah, he said, I don't understand crypto. Your Honor, I don't understand crypto. Well, that's fair. I honestly, I was surprised when I still saw that FTX still had their naming rights.
We're still on the court.
It's still on the court.
Weird. Yeah.
Which would that be like? How long did it take him to take down the Enron Stadium for the Enron? I can't remember. Was it immediate?
Took a minute.
They ripped it down.
It reminded me of Sammy Sosa pretending to not know English.
So here's my best thing. Real quick and brief. I made just a casual podcast joke, like I do, with no real thought or research or evidence behind it, about the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I said, you know, the only thing better than the Timberwolves without Cat is the Timberwolves without Cat and Gobert. Well, 3 straight wins later,
3 in a row.
your boy was right.
Only took Luka getting ejected.
Timberwolves have won 3 straight. Unfortunately, the last game, they dropped 150.
Well, the last game they didn't have Kyle Anderson.
I know that hurts my narrative. That hurts my agenda, not having Kyle Anderson in the last game. But just let the team be Anthony Edwards' team, and see the good stuff happen.
And play the Thunderbolts and a Luka-less Mavs.
Well, those are legit. Again, we have so much parity. I know the Bulls are spiraling down the toilet. But
after I guess I should have taken back my plea to not tank.
You said, last episode, John, you were like, just try, man, just go for it, stay alive, no matter what occurs, I will find you.
And then they got 150 hung on him by the catless Timberwolves.
The catless, Gobertless Timberwolves. The first time in Timberwolves franchise history that they scored 150 points. No, I was on the other side of that, John, where I'm like, if you're the Bulls, I don't know. It kind of there's no light at the end of that tunnel in my mind.
I will concede the argument.
What are your worst things? Those were our best things. What's the opposite of our best thing is the cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw? Chuck, what's your worst thing from last week?
So we've renamed awards and nothing.
Oh yeah, we have.
It's incredible the names that they went with. Obviously, like, you want to have the best of all time to be the MVP, right? But he hasn't won the most MVPs. Like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has won the most Michael Jordan trophies, right? Who's won the most Hakeem Olajuwon trophies? Mutombo and Ben Wallace.
That's the hot boy, please.
Hold on. So what is the trophy called?
The MVP trophy is the Michael Jordan trophy.
Well, it's the Key of Performance Michael Jordan trophy.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's the official name, but I don't know if it's the MVP anymore. I think it's the MJT now.
The MJ,
because it's not called the Michael Jordan MVP.
I think
award.
we rename it.
It's called the Michael
Nikola
Jordan
Jokic trophy.
Yeah,
right.
If Jokic wins the next 7, why wouldn't it be?
Why are we naming anything after John Havlicek? Didn't he average 47 minutes a game?
That's the 6th man award, which is already a ridiculous award. The John Havlicek trophy.
Right.
Is the Mikan is for most improved, but they thought
that's for most layups with each arm under the basket.
That's what it should be, John. It should be for the most layups made with both hands, or the most equal distribution
on the floor
of layup. The player who makes the closest to 50% with each hand, near the paint. They also have the Jerry West Clutch Award,
which is cool
in the world.
Also, the Mikan Award is interesting because while it is meant to award people who have made improvements, George Mikan's rookie year, he averaged like 30 a game. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
How do you improve from that?
So
that makes sense.
Can we make some of our own awards?
Also, yeah, I'm with it.
Let's make like Udonis Haslem, like most fearsome furrowed brow every season.
I would say the oldest player to still be hanging on award.
Yeah.
How about the player that's on the team as whatever the equivalent to the hockey enforcer is? That award, the best enforcer award, would go to UT for me. But I'm a Heat fan.
Is that like a Lamb beer? Who are some of the real just enforcers from back in the old days when their only job was to enforce? I'm not sure who those guys were.
Anthony Mason, Rick Mahorn.
Anthony Mason he was an all-star.
One time in a very weird way.
Yes.
I still think the Timothy Mozgov Award for the best contract, just given out, the best 4-year contract. Whoever gets
that's a great award.
Or we could do the Rasheed Wallace Award for most ejections.
Yes.
We should.
We should.
Yeah, the most technical foul should get their own award, the Rasheed Award, certainly.
Keith, is there any way for you to go back in iShop history and look up how valuable Rasheed Wallace would have been?
In our negative fantasy league?
Yes.
Because we get bonuses for ejections
Ejections.
and technicals. It'd be
Also,
good.
if we're gonna just create awards like the Clutch Award, can't we give like league scorer? Like Kareem needs to have an award. What about like if you win the scoring title, you get the Kareem Award?
What if you
Kareem
could do the
trophy.
most Sullivan Award?
Yeah, or best historical fiction writer.
That's it.
So are the normal cohorts of NBA writers going to vote on all these awards? Like they just have to make up a narrative for the clutch player? Because that hustle award, which I got so upset about last year, which apparently has existed for 5 years. I believe Amir Johnson won it once. Like the fact that it was these arbitrarily chosen stats with again arbitrary cutoffs, and Marcus Smart won it for the second time, not because he was one of the best at deflections and steals, not because he was great at rebounding. Like I remember identifying like Melton has more steals, blocks, rebounds, deflections, loose balls recovered, but Marcus Smart has more drawn charges. And the award is for drawn charges? Are you insane? Who selected this? And we don't know who selected it. There were no votes. There was no voting. It was just some.
It's a star chamber of evil men.
So I like if they give the clutch award out like that. I mean, what are they? I don't know. I mean, is it Shea? Shea's got 2 buzzer beaters, right? Shea ruined Damian Lillard night on Monday night. He also has that one buzzer beater that they lost. He had that step back against the Bucks, and then they blew it with like the last 0.5 of a second. So Shea has 3 go-ahead shots in the final second of a game.
I would
this
say
year.
you'd have to give it to SGA because it's a yearly award, so you'd have to give it to SGA this year.
But now they're going to pull out all these things. It's just like the hustle award is to hopefully drive traffic to the NBA stats page where they have the hustle stats. Is this just to like the cutoff of last 5 minutes, game within 5, which is what the NBA stats page uses for clutch play, is so arbitrary.
Pretty
it's just
bad.
like why. I mean, I like looking at it, but I filter it down. I want to know more like last 2 minutes, game within 2. It's like single possession games. That's something. But even then, it's when you see a stat on TV and they're like, so-and-so has the most, Steph Curry has the most clutch points this season. It's like, well, you're penalizing teams. You're penalizing the Bucks for being ahead
for just blowing people out.
Yeah. You're like it's an arbitrary thing. It's a meaningless word to say you have the most clutch points. It doesn't mean anything. So,
I think what we could do is give awards for actual quantifiable, exciting events. The Vince Carter Dunk of the Year.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Like, let's do real things that could actually create buzz, and maybe even have people who watch the game vote on it.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
John, what's your worst thing?
I'm sure you've been living this over and over again in your mind, Keith, but John Morant was ejected for talking to a fan last week.
It's gross. It was gross, John.
Can you imagine having bought a ticket for that?
I mean, I specifically tweeted that, and John Morant retweeted me.
Keith, if you
1 minute, 1 minute after
we lead very different lives. But yeah, I mean, I've been trying to go to Grizzlies games lately, and I've made gonna have a New Year's resolution to go to more Grizzlies games because we have this generational talent, right? But now, if you go to a game like that and he's ejected for that, if you're a Bucks fan, can you even cheer it? Like, are you even happy? Part of you wanted to see John Morant play basketball. Yeah. Sure, the Bucks now have a better chance of winning, but I think even a Bucks fan, Thunder fan would be really sad. I went to the Bucks game.
Yeah,
would be really sad to see that happen. You know, when you go to a game, like if I go, like when I look at the schedule, like I'm going to the Suns game. Maybe this is a bad example. I'd be thrilled if Devin Booker was the Chiefs. Okay, let's say I went to the Bucks game to see Giannis. I would be sad if Giannis was thrown out early in a game for talking to a fan.
My favorite part of that was Ja FaceTiming his dad.
Yeah, of course.
Brought the phone to the fan. It was tremendous. Such a wonderful moment. Yeah, it was a crappy event, but at least we got that
So I'm
wonderful event after.
The worst part for me, which I keep saying on various podcasts, the worst part for me is the thing that looks the worst, I think, objectively, is throwing out a player, let alone a star player, when they're laughing, when they're smiling, when they're
that goes back to the Tim Duncan, Joey Crawford saga.
Like if you toss a guy out who is not heated, it looks dumb, and it's going to be controversial.
So Keith, you've obviously delved into this more. I don't know anything about. I don't know who threw him out or what their reputation is. But is this a Paul Kersey vigilante justice type situation?
I don't know. I mean, the ref who threw him out is Ray Acosta.
Okay.
It's been 3 days since this occurred. We're recording on Tuesday,
and I haven't seen any sort of like apology or anything.
Well, they would never issue an apology.
Okay.
What I do find interesting. So like I made a typical tongue-in-cheek, sort of with a hint of truth, tweet about it, where I was like, just imagine all those people who saved up money, and then Ray Acosta throws out Ja Morant. And again, 2 minutes after I tweet this, Ja Morant retweets it from the locker room. But Ja Morant has been retweeting this stuff. The league in the pool report postgame said, the first technical was for profanity directed at an official. The second one was for questioning the integrity of the official. Ja Morant said that's a lie. He retweeted the league's pool report thing with the photo of the guy with all the caps on, saying that it was a lie. Ja Morant said the officials were lying 3 days ago. He has not been fined.
Okay, that's kind of like an apology.
He still, all his tweets, all his retweets are still up. All his stuff about because Ja said, the first tech, he said, because first he hit his head on the backboard.
Right.
I'm not even certain there was a foul on this play. Ja Morant had 0 shooting foul free throws in this game when he got ejected. But Ja Morant told the ref that's a bleeping foul. That apparently was the first technical, according to Ja. That's what Ja has said. The second technical foul, this fan who lives in Oklahoma, who's a Ja Morant fan, who got the FaceTime call from later, the fan said, "Hey, let's go!" Like, Ja, let's go, because they were down 20. They were down 21, I believe, when he got thrown out. Ja's like, "I'm trying to, but I got to get a bleeping whistle." Or he said, or according to others, maybe it was like this: the ref's got to give me a bleeping whistle. To me, the referee defender, that sounds soft. That's not that much of it. And then for that doesn't sound like that's a stretch for the old questioning integrity. Like, if a coach or a player is like, you got to be fair or give me a fair whistle, even that's borderline. Like, are you implying I'm being unfair, or it goes back to me, like, if the player is not in the official's face, like, what are we doing here? And this kind of bleeds over to my worst thing.
I will say this. Can I say something real quick about it?
Absolutely.
It's sort of for me, it was kind of a learning moment, because it made me think about like what constitutes superstar treatment and why superstar treatment exists. And it was like, oh yeah, it exists because these fans paid to see these players. Like, this is the most illustrative moment of why superstar treatment is a thing,
Yeah. And here's what's part of my worst thing. I'm gonna have a couple worst things. I got some disillusionment, trying to balance that, John, with like, it's an entertainment league. The superstars are what sell the tickets. They're what generate the revenue. Clearly we can't let the superstars do whatever they want. Like, that's not like Luka Doncic got thrown out. Luka Doncic had a 36-game streak of scoring 20 or more points, and it was ended by Rodney Mott, who tossed him out of the game. Or also not overt, like, wow, that guy lost it. That guy's shoving people and screaming. Luka did a petty, he threw the ball not to the closest official.
Yeah.
He got ejected for not giving the ball to the nearest official. And apparently, letter of the law, that's an automatic tech. Like if you throw the ball to the end of the court. But like that, again, it's like,
and
I don't know what
there's
to
even
do.
moments like Julius Randle had like 27 points at halftime and got ejected, and he absolutely should have been ejected. He lost his mind.
Yeah.
But
should we have a cool down period? We have a calm down box for our 5-year-old. You go in there, you get the squishy toy.
How different would Joey Crawford's career have been had there been a calm
if he had
box?
some
social emotional? I think that's 2 more Spurs titles. I think we're talking about 7 Spurs titles.
I mean, we can't just say like officials. We can't just say the best players have even more leeway. I don't feel like, because they're going to take it. They're going to take it and then more. And they're like having Luka screaming at the officials more. That's not good. We don't want that. Appeasement never works.
I think that before each game, the referees need to go through some sort of psychological evaluation so we can like eliminate the forget Paris aspect of basketball referee, where these guys are just coming in carrying some very heavy stuff.
Paris achievement unlocked.
What is
happening?
You want to create an even higher hurdle for officiating? I mean,
yes, they should.
What are the problems though? There is an officiating crisis in the nation, Chuck. And I'm not talking. I'm not
shortage.
I'm not talking about
my giant next, please.
No. I honestly, I would assume if someone studied this, that calls are more accurate than ever. Like back in the day, what kind of oversight? We didn't have, some of these games weren't televised. Have you seen? When's the last time you watched that Lakers? When's the last time you watched that Lakers Pistons Game 7 finals few seconds? The Pistons are down by 3. The fans come on the court. Like they don't even. But there is in this country a shortage of officials because who would sign up for this? People are insane to referees. There's a solid 35% of the country unmoored to reality who thinks the liberty to scream at an official is everything. This 16-year-old referee doing this children's game deserves to be screamed at. So there are fewer and fewer officials available. So yeah, I don't know. All I'm saying, I'm disillusioned about how poor these ejections have been for the quality of the game. I'm also disillusioned where I found my guy Devin Booker. I found myself on the same side as Devin Booker, gunning for 60 points with the game decided. He had 58 playing the Pelicans. These Pelicans Suns games have been incredible. Devin Booker was outrageously awesome in this game, and then he goes for the 60-pointer on the final play of the game, up 4 with the ball, and I was like, "You go get him, Dev. That's my guy." I found myself cheering for him. I immediately felt dirty afterwards. It's been a rough little stretch for me. I mean, we decided like if you're gonna do something cool, it's worth it. So like,
right.
If Devin Booker hits that 3, it's cool, right? Is it?
Yes.
It is cool. It is cool.
Unfortunately. Anyways, those were our worst things. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire.
Darius Swendo asked a question that I think has a correct answer, but I'm going to see if you guys are on the same page as me. Chuck, I don't know if you watched the World Cup. Keith, I know you did.
Yeah.
But
I did.
Argentinian keeper Emilio Martinez.
Chuck is a season ticket holder to Nashville Soccer Club, the biggest soccer man in here now.
That's like belonging.
You can't say the 7th best league in the world.
Here we 12th best league. Has shown Emilio Martinez exhibited absolute dominance as Argentina's not so secret defensive weapon in the shootouts.
Yeah.
What current player in the NBA casts a similarly heavy shadow when blocking shots?
The most dominant force in the paint?
I think we have to bring antics into the equation here.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying Luke Cornett.
His eclipse moments.
Luke Cornett is the most he is the most goalie looking dude in the NBA.
Yeah.
Which I've seen players pick up players like Keith Parrish use the Luke Cornett eclipse mode, and I know it to have been effective my entire life. I'm so glad that someone is bringing it to the NBA. When the tall guy raises his arms up, you can't see the rim.
I would, I think you make a good argument. I think the actual, like, who is the most dominant shot blocker when you incorporate presence and antics? I don't feel like Jaren has the antics yet, even though his shot blocking is probably currently the best in the NBA.
John Morant. John Morant has antics after a block.
It's just the spectacularness of that little tiny guy looking like Yoda flying through the air with the force.
I think as far as like physical presence is concerned and ability, I'm going with Brook Lopez, because while he's not quick and agile,
there's not less antics in the league than Brolo.
Yeah,
right?
That's like getting blocked by the Stonehenge, like Easter Island head. Some of his blocks are accidental. Those are frontal lobe blocks. I do think, there was a time when Carmelo's screaming was pretty antic. Like Carmelo Anthony's screaming all the time. Who screams a lot these days?
I don't know. Carmelo's screaming on every defensive rebound.
Yes, that used to just unsettle me. Like, seeing him live was horrifying.
I mean, do we include a Mitchell Robinson? I feel like his antics, something about, is his jersey just a little bit looser? It feels like things are.
Yes.
It feels like there's more movement. There's just more movement when his arms are moving around.
It looks like he has a cape on.
I know it's not more effective, but I like it when the arms are swinging wildly on a block shot, where like Lopez just, again, has that hand disciplined, has that hand straight up, getting pieces of shots. Jaren has gotten very, very good at not bringing his arms down, and thus he picks up fewer fouls.
Jared Allen, the two-hand block.
Jared Allen is a great one. Yeah, also, you have the hair adds to the flair. I would like to see Jared Allen.
Now, which player is most likely to take, say, an MVP trophy and waggle it as an enormous dong upon receiving?
Oh man.
Which current NBA? I feel like
Steven Adams, 100%.
Steven Adams feels like, I would say Trae Young too. I feel like I see Trae Young.
Trae Young could do that.
I have nothing to add. I cannot top those.
All right, what's the next question?
The next question: what's weirder, underhand free throw? Magnus asks. I'm sorry, Magnus.
All right.
What's weirder, underhand free throws, jump shot free throws, or one-handed free throws? I also would like to throw out the recent switching of hands free throws. I think that's
I assume that's somewhat inspired here by
we
got
he was actually Plumlee doing. I think he actually may have done this before that. He was inspired by Jeremy Sochan.
Yeah, Sochan
doing one-arm free throws because he shoots 44%.
Some one-armers.
Yeah.
When is Steven Adams? Oh, by the way, Steven Adams had a 2-for-2 game. Good job, Steve-O.
Has Ben Simmons shot a free throw in the last 2 months? I think there's a purity to the granny shot that makes it not weird. Even though I haven't seen one in decades, it's part of the.
There was one a couple years. There was one a couple years ago.
I want to say it's not Hamidou Diallo. It was someone. It was an African name. I'm trying to remember who was doing it.
What was his? Also, Canyon Barry, was he in the G League doing it?
Yeah, Canyon Barry. Yeah. I think the one-handed free throw is downright unsettling.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm going with. Jump shot free throw is the funniest because you're like, it's a toddler.
I think the jump shot is the worst.
The worst or weirdest?
Like if you or the weirdest. Yeah. Okay. I think if you actually leave your feet, that is strange. Is anyone doing that right now? Actually leaving their feet?
Hassan Whiteside did it. I remember his for at least when he played for Miami, he had a weird just mini lift. Wasn't much.
What's the coolest? Because there is a right answer. What's the coolest free throw?
Underhand.
No, I'm not saying among these options.
Can we create them? I think if you just like head it in, if we're going back to soccer, you just lift it in and just
Marc Gasol style.
Yeah.
If that was yours, I don't know if that's coolest, but I like it. That would be the boldest.
What about mumbling the names of your victims like a serial killer like Karl Malone used to do?
The coolest is the Van Exel from 20 feet.
Yeah.
Just 4 feet, just 4 feet behind the line. Like, you know what? I'm getting as far back as I'm legally allowed to be.
Right.
There's somebody in the league who steps over the line. Who is that?
What do you mean? Just
There's a guy whose toes are like all the way into the other side of the line.
I remember seeing someone recently where I'm like, they had the overhead view, and I'm like, that's just not even a legal free throw. The
I
guy's
think it was
all over.
Andrew Wiggins.
Could have been.
Possibly.
Yeah, no, we're at a time of some really kind of incredible free throw shooting. With Mason Plumlee switching hands with the Ben Simmons and Steven Adams adventures, and now Jeremy Sohan doing his little
Nash to the cafeteria ladies' breast.
Anyways, those were our croissant questions. Thanks to you guys who submitted your question. If you want your question to be answered on air or as part of our Millennial Brunch monthly Zoom hangout, you have to be a Patreon supporter. I got some good Patreon supporters signing up in the last week. Phil Moser, thanks for signing up. One moment.
Give me a look. I'm on the
I'm loading
black.
it. Dallas Swindell, thanks for signing up. Russell Henson, thanks for signing up. And Neil Goodman, little run on the Patreon here. Thanks for signing up. Again, if you join the Patreon, you get access to our Slack channel. You can play the monthly Pickle Pick'em challenge, where you attempt to pick the most correct games against the spread Monday through Thursday. And of course, you get access to exclusive bonus content. So if you want to support the show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right, it is now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. By the way, speaking of our negative fantasy league, I lost to a team that was 1-16. This is the furthest I've ever fallen.
You lost to Chuck?
And this is yes, I invented the league. So dominating a league you invent, not that awesome or not that impressive, but it is a tough league this year. We got 32 managers trying hard, and Markel Fultz is killing me. He's being good. Dylan Brooks is still pretty good, but he keeps having these 32-point games. Not awesome.
Is there a way to get more playoff teams, or are we capped there?
I feel like with so many teams that we reward the regular season. The regular season matters in iShop, unlike the NBA. Okay,
right? But it's like 6 teams.
Well, so I liked rewarding the season long dominance. We can have a rules committee meeting later. It's very hard.
The second place team and the 12th place team have the same record. It's not good.
Yeah. The only problem is then we'd have to shorten the regular season. We can shorten the regular season. It's hard, dude. Or maybe we could do one of those 12 teams, the top 4 scorers for those weeks, advance to the semifinals. These are all great ideas that we could have gone over in the summer. I do. The competition committee will take them under advisement.
Just listen. If people aren't signing up for this stuff, listen to her. I'm just going to give you my roster.
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Dyson Daniels, Alec Burks, Isaac Okoro, Arabia.
Incredible stun.
Just imagine having these team players that you are intimately.
You have to hang on to guys. It's so competitive. You have to hang on to Laravia while he's out of the rotation for 2 weeks, just out of the chance.
I dropped Zaire, and I'm feeling sick about it, so I just wanted another Grizzly. Santi Aldama, Torrey Craig, Trey Mann, Justice Winslow, Pat Connaughton, Buddy Hield. Just imagine following these guys' career lustily.
That's right. I was hoping somebody had let Chris Duarte off their roster while he was out. Nope.
Yeah.
You can't drop the guys. Anyways, here's the actual awards segment for the International Stackhouse of Pancakes. By the way, if we weren't explicitly clear, to play in the iShop Negative Fantasy League, you have to be a Patreon supporter. So there's always next year. Here we go. Honorable mention this week: Tyrese Halliburton 0 for 9, Malik Beasley 1 for 10, 1 for 10, Fred VanVleet 3 for 15, Klay Thompson 4 for 17, Kelly Oubre 5 for 19, Devin Booker 6 for 22, Terry Rozier 8 for 28. I gotta say that those honorable mentions, basically a Hall of Fame of the traditional International Stackhouse of Pancakes regulars. Here we go. 3 nominees from the last week. Emmanuel Quickley in a win against the Bulls. That's right. The Knicks only win games. In a 23-point win, Quickley was a 1 for 12 from the field. 3 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound, 1 steal, 0 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. Next is Chris Middleton. In in a 41-point loss to Dylan Brooks.
Yes.
Chris Middleton.
Dylan Brooks actually drove him insane and turned him into a violent person.
Somehow Dylan Brooks got under his skin so much 2 minutes into the game that Chris Middleton tackled Dylan Brooks.
Sidewalk slammed him.
It was 2 minutes into the game.
Arn Anderson spine buster.
And then Dylan Brooks talked trash to him afterwards. He's like, Middleton doesn't like contact. So like Middleton
Tremendous.
got annihilated by Dylan Brooks. It was I had a lot of weird feelings.
Snatched his soul out his body.
One of the earliest like pro Chris Middleton people. Before his All-Star years being like, this guy's my guy, he rules. Chris Middleton got destroyed by the Grizzlies. Anyways, the box score tells basically the whole story. Lost by 41, was 1 for 12, had 3 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. 4 turnovers, 5 personal fouls, 1 for 12 from Chris Middleton.
Love it.
Who, by the way, hasn't played since this game.
Yeah, I mean, retired.
He's busy.
If you saw it, like the reaction it was so humiliating.
It was rough. Anyways, Chris Middleton, Emmanuel Quickly, and the third, the triumvirate, another one of my favorite players. It was a weird week for me. Mikal Bridges in a loss to the Rockets. Mikal Bridges was 4 for 24. 18 points, which is pretty solid. He got to the foul line.
Doesn't matter. 18
points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 3 personal fouls. Now, 4 for 24 is eye-popping.
Yeah.
Not in the box score is knowing at one point he was 1 for 18.
Right.
Which is special.
Yeah, like we thought we were going to see.
We thought we were going to see it all the time.
I was providing live updates.
Right. This is one of those times where I start getting texts. I start getting DMs. Very, very exciting all the way around. I first clicked in when I believe he was 1 for 17. Like I missed the first. I'm sad to say I missed the first 1 for 17. I missed the pure euphoria of that ride. I'd be like, we're going for it. We're going for it. He did finish 4 for 24. So what we're stuck with, Emmanuel, quickly, you're off the hook.
Yeah.
What we're stuck with is Chris Middleton, 1 for 12, 3 points, 4 turnovers, 5 fouls, which is insane.
Very bad.
Against 4 for 24, the more eye-popping, the rarer event as far as the number of field goal attempts missed. A full 20 field goal attempts missed.
I'm going to recuse myself because having experienced it, I can't comment.
Separate.
The box score is I'm too close to this one, so it's
4 for 24 with 18 points, 2 steals, 3 turnovers. I think technically, and again, we keep it vague on purpose. This is much like the Jerry West Clutch Award. They didn't describe the parameters to be used for picking it to keep it as open to discussion as possible.
Right.
For me, the worst game, which is what I normally go with, the worst game is Chris Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 for 12. I mean, although
5 fouls, he tried very hard.
Imagine going 1 for 12 and then missing, and then going 3 for your next 12 and putting that all together for 4. I don't know, man. Chuck, what are your? I'm not going official yet. What are your leanings? Chuck?
I'm going with putrid against the Grizzlies, Chris Middleton. That's my go-to now.
Definitely where my heart is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Retired a man. He took his mask.
Well, he has to go to therapy.
He's a hair versus hair match.
To not make it a split, I'll agree. And Chris Middleton wins this award somehow. Mikal Bridges
missing 20 shots and not getting the eye shot.
Does
Truly
not
amazing.
Get the award. Mikal Bridges he's the first player in 5 years to have a 4 for 24 game. He of all players to attempt at least 24 field goal attempts, the worst ever as far as field goal percentage is Drew Holiday, a famous 2 for 24 game back when he was on the Sixers in 2013. Of course, the player with the most field goal attempts ever to shoot under 18% from the field. You guys want to jump in?
No, don't got it.
Here's your hint. It occurred
Jerry Stackhouse
in the 40s.
Jumpin' Joe Folks.
There we go. That's what I needed. Jumpin' Joe Folks. with a couple of 8 for 46 game, a couple of 7 for 40s.
Golly.
Oh man, what a guy. But congratulations, Mikhail getting off the hook, and Chris Middleton on this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award win. All right, par fadeaway, gentlemen. What things are we looking forward to in the coming week? John, what do you got your eye on?
I love the Christmas Day games.
Yeah.
There's a tradition in my house.
What is it going to be like having the Grizzlies on Christmas Day? This is uncharted territory.
I'm hopeful that it's not. I feel like we're past the national game jitters. I think it's just going to be a beautiful thing.
I mean,
against a team I loathe, so pretty pumped.
I loathe the Warriors. This is the first Grizzlies Warriors meeting of the season. Steph Curry's supposedly out for the game. Desmond Bane is supposed to be out for the game, but 2 days ago, Desmond Bane tweeted eyes emoji. So we don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, the lineup's amazing. The only bad game is Lakers Mavs, which everyone loves the Lakers and the Mavs anyways. So like,
right. It's
really good game. Sixers Knicks is, they basically have the same record. Bucks Celtics at one point was the two best teams in the league. I don't know. I think losing twice to the Magic may have undone the Celtics forever.
Celtics have lost 4 out of 5.
I know.
Yeah.
Suns Nuggets is awesome. I mean, I am going to saddle up from morning till midnight. It's going to be great.
How the NFL playing games on the Christmas Day too? How's this going to affect your life? I mean,
I'm back in on the NFL.
I know you ruined it. You jumped back in and ruined the Titans.
I did, but can we talk? I know this is a non-basketball aside, but if your team does something that is as close to an explicit, abject apology to its fans as the Titans did by firing their general manager the day after the player he traded suns you in front of God and everyone, I feel I have an obligation to be like, you know what? You said you were sorry. I accept
I like
your
that.
apology.
I love that. They haven't won since then.
What am I supposed to do? I didn't really want to go back. I don't want Sundays taken away from me again. I was loving my free Sundays, but I feel like I'm if I don't do that, I'm just full of it. I have to come back.
What does sorry look like? Firing your GM. Yes. That's what sorry looks like.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to never having to write a joke again for this podcast. There's this website, chat.openai.com, where you can go in and ask an AI to do work for you. And what I did was put in write NBA jokes for a breakfast themed NBA podcast. And here are some of the great ones that I got. Okay. Why was the basketball court always hungry during breakfast time? Because it kept missing its cereal. Okay, that one isn't the best, but we'll keep going.
Okay.
Why was the NBA player's omelet so tough to beat? Because it was an excellent defender with the word egg.
I got it.
I mean,
stop. Only you can prevent this, Keith. You just hit
I love it. I want the AI jokes more. Here's the
thing. Why did the NBA player order a side of bacon with his breakfast? Because it needed a little extra sizzle on the court.
Hit the leave Zoom meeting button.
John,
oh, man.
These jokes are indistinguishable from Chuck's actual jokes.
That's why I could do these forever and you guys never have to know the difference. I'm looking forward to it.
The breakfast pun jokes that Chuck swings at every now and then. That's sizzle one got me. Do you have any more?
Let's see. Why did the orange refuse to play basketball with the other fruits?
I'm leaving.
Because it was too appealing.
Oh.
Yeah. Why couldn't the pancake?
Is that an appealing, appalling misstep? What's happening?
I don't know. Why did the eggs team up with the bacon for the game? Because they were a crackling duo.
Is this the Basketball Jones? What's happened here?
The oat brand.
Where's Trey? Where's Taco Trey?
I'm looking forward to a few things. Not the least of which is more AI jokes. Not only did the Grizzlies play on Christmas Day, they play the Nuggets like 1 and 2 in the West play on Tuesday night. Then they play the Suns on Friday night. Also on prime time.
I'm gonna try to go to that Suns game.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
What you doing out in Phoenix, man?
I thought there was a home game. No.
Oh no, we're all on the road. You should
Oh,
definitely
God.
go to FedEx Forum
Yeah.
on Friday.
Yeah.
And see
Let us
what's
know how it
there.
goes.
Yeah, let's go. Let me find out what's playing at the FedEx Forum.
Lizzo.
It's not Lizzo and Lotto. That's April 26th. Get your tickets at the FedEx Forum box office. Also, like what are in fact the Raptors and Bulls going to do? They are trash cans. I
mean,
I spend my actual money on Raptors to make the playoffs, and it was not good odds.
We've done that Raptors over like 9 years in a row.
Yep. I mean, the Raptors have a point differential of the 7th best team in the East. That I think we need to
Raise the banner.
raise the banner. What I think
Put that on t-shirts.
What I think we're looking at is just a year where nothing makes sense, where when a team goes like 2 for 8 in 10 in their, in 10 games, you go, oh, they're a bad basketball team, but they'll probably go 8-2 again at some point.
Yeah.
It's just wild variance because of the parity in this league. Nothing makes sense. The Knicks winning 7 in a row doesn't make sense to me. But it'll all work itself out.
I mean, the Raptors games are all pretty close.
They aren't losing games by a lot. And it's a strange season. We can't make, up for down and down for up this year. There's a lot of our narratives and the things that we used to go point at and say the team's bad, I don't think can be really true this year because of how close games are and how good every team is and how everybody's kind of as good as the other, except for the rarefied air in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it's very much like
I mean, a week ago we were saying the Pelicans were the best, and then they just didn't win for a week.
Yeah, they lost 4 straight or so.
So
it's true.
It's true. It's just confusing, and I know that doesn't help us because what we like to do is be certain. But this year, I think we're not going to know anything until the playoffs, and then the playoffs are going to come, and we're going to be floored when teams we think suck beat teams that we think are good.
I mean, I still fear the Warriors, and they have the worst record. They have the worst road record in the NBA.
I mean,
every team, all teams.
I was shooting for them to win, to lose 90% of their games at home on the road and win 90% of their games at home. Like, I think that still might happen.
I mean, I don't even know what this trade season is supposed to start at some point. I mean, I saw some report that like multiple teams have offered first-round picks for Eric Gordon. That can't be true.
No.
Why? Who would do that? But like, I don't know. Yeah.
It's chaos. But this is, I think, a beautiful thing because we have this weird year where tanking is actually like you can actually get a generational talent if you tank, but also you want to make the playoffs because parity and or the play-in has turned teams that would normally tank
because Adam Silver let the league know in a memo that the lottery is fixed. So don't
we're
tank. There's no point.
We're giving Victor Wembanyama to the Spurs. We sit on it
as long as it's not the Rockets. Please don't put him on the Rockets.
The Rockets are too cool, man.
They're so cool.
Jabari Smith is cool.
They almost beat my Heat, and they were fun to watch.
I'll finish this. It is a wild season, but the only constant we have in this world, and maybe one of my favorite things about this NBA season, is I've started following a lot of Sixers fans, and I'm now seeing. Buckle up for this. I'm now seeing, hey man, when Maxey returns, he's got to come off the bench. It's like they're like if Maxey returns, he's got to be 6-man. We need his
Are
boost
you
off the
more
bench
into the Sixers or the Grizzlies right now?
No, the Sixers are still horrifying to watch. Horrifying to watch. But like, man, if you're giving 40 minutes to Melton, oh my God. And now they're winning games, or they're saying like, man, PJ Tucker's got to go to the bench. Which honestly, that is true.
Yeah.
You got to play Harden, Maxey, Melton, Tobias, and Embiid. No, that's the only constant in my world.
I don't want to hear it.
Anyways, if you want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Make sure you follow at MemGrizz and at Grind City Media across all social channels for behind the scenes and breaking news on the Memphis Grizzlies. You can follow me at Fast Break Break. John is Master John Burr. Chuck is the Mighty Chuck. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.